This is the great KBC, and you're just in time for lunchtime news on this 22nd day of July 2027. A loaded bulletin here for you. We're keeping our eyes peeled and our lenses as well for teacher and blogger Albert Ojang murder trial that is currently underway at the Kibera Law Court. My colleague Ruth Wamboi is keeping tabs with what is happening there, and we'll be crossing over there. And other than that, we still have local, business, and also sports news. Many thanks for joining us. I'm Njue. Caro Njoroge, the lovely lady on the bottom of your screen handling the sign language interpretation. Straight to the news. Now, business community and residents from Lusigethi in Njue Ward, Kiambu County held peaceful demonstration to compel the relevant authorities to tarmac Lusigethi Hospital, Kaigata Road, which has been in a deplorable state. Father George Njoroge, the area member of County Assembly, appealed to the county government of Kiambu and Kenya Rural Roads Authority to improve the feeder road to reduce accidents and boost connectivity. He noted that the feeder road connects major government offices, Lusigethi Hospital, social amenities, and a number of training institutions in the area. We kick off our bulletin with that story.
We have requested for bumps and it has not happened. So still I further push my request to Kera and Kenha and all these institutions which are responsible to put these either rubbles or they put bumps just to avoid and to reduce the risks which are here.
Lami imetokana yote kabisa, mashimo ndio mingi. Hii barabara ndio inabeba wagonjwa, ambulance haiwezi hata tusaidia. Kuna shida hata ya fumbi, chakula tunauza sikiwa chafu. Sasa tunaomba serikali, our governor, utusaidie.
To education now, where leaders across the country have called for increased investment in school infrastructure and funding to support the government's 100% transition policy, saying adequate classrooms, teachers, and learning resources are essential to keep children in school. The appeal was made during the handover of a school bus to Mwangaza Secondary School and the sponsorship of 61 students through the National Government Constituency Development Fund, NGCDF. The leader said expanding access to quality education remains one of the most effective ways of empowering young people and ensuring they stay away from crime. They noted that while efforts to increase school enrollment are commendable, schools require sufficient funding to meet the growing infrastructure demand.
Ukiangalia wazazi wetu sio wanajiweza sana kifedha. Kwa hivyo saa zingine hata saa hii ile changamoto tuko nayo ni fee balances ambazo zinaenda mpaka karibu 9 million. Na kama vile serikali imetuambia hatuwezi fukuza hawa watoto. Kisha mkiangalia madarasa yetu hata hajakamilika.
We urge the government, this money should be directed to the school.
Hii pesa tunaona pesa kidogo inapatiwa the primary schools. Tunaona 95 shillings unapatia. Hiyo pesa itasaidia nani? That cannot be acceptable. Funding model ambayo ile iko, we demand that all the money ambayo ni ya secondary, ya primary school and tertiary education, all that money must be released.
Away from that, a senior principal magistrate and a principal probation officer attached to Kangema Law Courts are in police custody after the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission arrested them over an alleged bribery scheme linked to a criminal case. The anti-graft agency says Martin Kenyua Mutegi and Julius Irongo Njogu demanded 170,000 shillings from a Muranga businessman in exchange for influencing his sentencing through a favorable probation recommendation. EACC says the complainant had already been convicted and was due for sentencing when the alleged demand was made. Detectives later mounted an operation and arrested the two officials while they were allegedly receiving 150,000 shillings in Kangema Township. The The suspects are currently in police custody as investigations continue, pending further legal action. In other news, young pastoralists in Samburu County have been challenged to embrace agribusiness as a source of income and also an avenue to job creation. Subsequently, the World Food Programme WFP has chipped in and sponsored the young pastoralists to venture into agribusiness and potato production. According to the beneficiaries, the initiative has helped the area to achieve food security and address the constant problem of livestock theft in Samburu County. The youths who have undergone various trainings now say that their lives have changed dramatically through the program.
Through World Food Program nimeweza kufunzwa mambo mengi. Ya kwanza ni mambo na farm inputs. Tumeweza kufunzwa kuwa tuweze kutumia certified seeds, si kununua tu mbegu kwa duka. Tumeweza pia kujua mambo ya soil testing. Kitambo ni kuamka tu asubuhi na kulima. But sasa hizi tunajua lazima tufanye soil testing ili tuweze kujua ni mchanga inahitaji nini. Tusiwe tunaweka fertilizer zenye hazihitajiki hata.
Tumeleta wakulima kujifunza mambo ya viazi, na kama tujuavyo viazi ndio chakula muhimu zaidi ya pili kutoka kwa mahindi. Na tunafunza wakulima wadogo ama young farmers jinsi ya kujikimu na kupata faida kupitia kilimo biashara.
Now, police in Kiambu County have launched a manhunt for a suspect accused of killing 2 fellow laborers and seriously injuring another at Mugumo Drive Estate in Kiambu Town. The suspect, identified as Moses Kegera, is said to have fled after the attack. Aaron Marie tells us more.
Investigators say preliminary findings indicate he had recently been dismissed from his job and replaced by one of the deceased at a construction site where they work as caretakers.
The scene was confirmed that indeed 2 people had been murdered in a makeshift house and 1 had been critically injured. We are following very serious and critical clues. We know we are going to get the assailant.
Police recovered the suspected murder weapons at the scene, while the 2 bodies were taken to Kiambu Level 5 Hospital mortuary. The injured survivors remains admitted at the same hospital as detectives continue pursuing the suspect and investigating the motive behind the killings.
This gentleman was dismissed from work because of indiscipline, sometimes back around 3 or 4 days. Yesterday, this morning he went back. He murdered 2 people, as we have been told. We are following up on him, and it's just a matter of time before we get him.
Meanwhile, secondary school teachers in Kitui East staged demonstration to protest the killing of 2 colleagues in separate incidents allegedly linked to their intimate partners.
Huyu mwalimu bado tunaongea kuhusu mpenzi wake, na walimu tunasema kwamba ikuwe kwamba ndoa kabla ifike tuseme tunachunga ndoa, kwanza tuchunge maisha yetu. Tukiona kwamba hii ndoa inahatarisha maisha yetu, tuseme ndoa ikae, kwa sababu maisha ni ya maana kuliko hiyo ndoa.
Teachers under the Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers KUPPET, led by Kitui Branch Secretary Philip Maanzo, condemned the attacks and called for speedy investigations and prosecution of those responsible.
Fanyiwa mauaji ya dhuluma kubwa na uchungu mwingi. Tumetoka nyumbani hivi sasa na tukajulishwa na familia kwamba alipigwa kwa nyundo kichwani na akapasuliwa kichwa. Kwa hivyo mwenzetu alipoteza maisha kwa uchungu mwingi sana.
Kitui East OCPD Lucy Gitau assured the demonstrators that investigation into both cases are ongoing and that justice will be pursued for the victims and their families.
Tunasema pole kwa hicho kitendo na tunaahidi to make every stone out, to turn every stone mpaka jamaa afungwe.
Reporting for Lunchtime News, I'm Aaron Marie.
And still on matters security, China has reaffirmed its commitment to strengthening ties with Kenya, pledging deeper cooperation in peace, security and development, while describing Nairobi as a key partner in promoting regional stability. The commitment was made during celebrations marking the 99th anniversary of the founding of the Chinese People's Liberation Army in Nairobi.
China has pledged to deepen cooperation with Kenya as the two countries seek to strengthen their strategic partnership in defense, peace and development. Speaking during celebrations to mark the 99th anniversary of the founding of the People's Liberation Army, Chinese ambassador to Kenya, Guo Haiyan, said Beijing remains committed to working with Kenya and other peace-loving nations to build a safer and more prosperous future.
China will work with Kenya and all peace-loving countries and peoples around the world to act on the Global Security Initiative, jointly safeguard peace, promote development and deepen cooperation. Together, we will create a safer, more prosperous and better future and make new and greater contributions to building a community with shared future for humanity.
Ambassador Guo described Kenya as an important East African partner, commending its role in regional peace initiatives, United Nations peacekeeping missions, counter-terrorism operations, and humanitarian efforts.
This year marks the 4th anniversary of the Global Security Initiative. The GSI underscores a call for respect for sovereignty and territorial integrity of all countries, observance of the purpose and principles of the UN Charter, earnest consideration of the legitimate security concerns of all countries, peaceful resolution of differences and disputes between countries through dialogue and consultation, and coordinated efforts to maintain security in both traditional and non-traditional domains.
On her part, Defense Cabinet Secretary Soipan Tuya, Vice Chief of the Kenya Defense Forces Lieutenant General John Omenda, congratulated the People's Liberation Army on its 99th anniversary and reaffirmed Kenya's commitment to expanding defense cooperation with China.
The Ministry of Defense of Kenya remains committed to deepening this partnership in a manner that is mutually beneficial and responsive to our respective national defense priorities.
Chinese Defense Attaché Senior Colonel Zhao noted that military relations between Kenya and China continue to grow, encompassing personnel training, defense cooperation, counter-terrorism efforts, and naval exchanges, such as recent visits by Chinese naval escort task groups to the port of Mombasa.
The PLA will continue to work alongside the armed forces of other nations to uphold peace, promote development, and build a community with a shared future for humanity. This is not only China's commitment.
Moving on, lawyers across the country held a nationwide court boycott on Wednesday morning, accusing sections of the judiciary of frustrating efforts to promote accountability and shielding judicial officers facing integrity questions. Led by Law Society of Kenya President Charles Kanjama, the lawyers who spoke outside the Supreme Court building in Nairobi vowed to escalate the protest until the judiciary upholds transparency, publishes the performance records of individual judges and judicial officers, and allows accountability institutions to perform their constitutional mandate. LSK further warned of consequences against several judges for allegedly ignoring the boycott notice by compelling advocates to proceed with cases or penalizing them through adjournment fees. The Law Society of Kenya says its campaign will continue until concrete measures are taken to restore integrity, efficiency, and public confidence in the judiciary.
The court boycott is going on in courts across the country. Many lawyers have heeded the call of the Law Society of Kenya to take out their cases before the courts,
demanding accountability not only in performance but the restoration of integrity and the elimination of corruption in the administration of justice.
We are tired of a corrupt judiciary that refuses to reform itself. In fact, the judiciary is incapable of reforming itself.
And this is a message that I want to pass to Chief Justice Martha Koome. We've sat with you. We've asked you to take the necessary steps to ensure that there is accountability and integrity in the judiciary.
We are not fighting judges as such or magistrates as such. What we are fighting is the endemic corruption that has engulfed the judiciary in this country.
Gender diversity.
From the corridors of justice now to the coast now, where Malindi Member of Parliament Amina Mnyanzi is cautioning against forceful evictions of squatters from a disputed land, saying the government is in the process of acquiring land to permanently resettle the affected families. Speaking during the groundbreaking ceremony for Goshi Chief's Ward Office in Kakuyuni Ward, the legislator said funds have been allocated towards the land acquisition. At the same time, the MP warned the squatters against invading private land, saying only genuine long-term squatters will benefit from the government's resettlement program. She also urged landowners to engage the government so their land can be considered for acquisition instead of pursuing evictions.
Hatutaki kuona mtu amebomolewa nyumba, hatutaki kuona watu wamenyanyaswa in any way. Na kama mtu ana matatizo mwambie aje amuone nani? Mwambie aje amuone nani? Mwambie aje anione mimi. Na security na nyinyi msione hii ni mchezo. Kwa sababu if anybody from the security team atajifanya kimbelembele ya kwenda kuingililia mashamba hapa na kufanya mtu kitu, hii itakuwa ni personal war ya mimi na nyinyi.
Serikali iko kwa mpango ya kununua mashamba ya landlords wale ambao hawako na mashamba yako na watu ndani. Hakuna mtu ako na kibali na ako na ruhusa ya kuvuruga watu na kuwavurusha kwa mashamba kama hajakuja tukaketi chini, tukasikilizana, tukaelewana.
Now, transport along the busy Isiolo-Moyale highway remained paralyzed for the better part of Tuesday evening as traders and residents of Isiolo town staged a demonstration in protest of the killing of a businesswoman in the area. The deceased, identified as Kananu Angelina Lishera, was reportedly shot dead by an unknown gunman on Monday evening shortly after closing her shop at the Isiolo market. According to locals, Kananu was aboard a motorcycle headed home when the said assailant struck in an attack that also left the rider of the motorcycle sustaining serious injuries. The irate residents who barricaded sections of the road and lit bonfires in the town are demanding accountability and the arrest of their suspect behind the attack, decrying the rising cases of insecurity in the region.
Usiku hatujalala kwa sababu ya mwenzetu, mwanabiashara mwenzetu aliyeweza kuvamiwa usiku na kupigwa risasi hapa Isiolo market katikati ya town 200 meters kutoka the central police station. Na to make matter worse, security iko pia kwa njia yoyote mpaka karibu saa 4 ndio tuliweza kuona serikali askari wakikuja mwili ukiwa bado ungali pale.
Sisi tunataka security iwe tight, security ifanye kwa patrol usiku. Kwa sababu hapa hata watu wananyang'anywa simu, wamama siku hizi watembei, hapa watu wanapigwa usiku. Kwa hivyo sisi tunaomba kabisa operation ya Isiolo ifanyike kwa njia ambaye itatoa wale walivu kabisa.
Na ningependa kusi watu ya Isiolo, sisi wote tusaidiane. Mwenene ya jambo la usalama ni yetu sisi wote. Tusaidiane ili tupate report ambaye italead kukamatwa kwa wale walifu ambayo wanatuhangaisha katika sehemu yetu.
In other news, medical experts are warning that the burden of obstetric fistula remains high despite it being a treatable condition. They are calling for urgent interventions to address critical gaps in accessing treatment, prevention, and public awareness. Despite ongoing efforts to improve reproductive healthcare services, thousands of women continue to live in silent pain, shame, and social isolation, having lost both their dignity and self-confidence. According to fistula expert Dr. Nathan Matasi, obstetric fistula is primarily caused by prolonged obstructed labor, a condition that causes severe damage to the bladder or rectum if timely medical care is not provided. While Dr. Matasi emphasizes that the condition is entirely treatable, he warns existing interventions are falling short, leaving significant gaps in prevention, specialized care, and community education that must be urgently addressed.
Wakati nilijifungua mtoto wangu wa mwisho, ndiposa nilipata hii shida. Ilikuwa ni safari ndefu ambapo ilinisumbua sana, hata kukaa na watu ni shida.
Shida ya nutrition wakati mtoto anakuwa, ni hali ya malisho haikui mzuri sana. Sasa mifupa yake haikui to the maximum, inakuwa limited. So naona pelvis inakuwa narrowed, so expansion yake inakuwa compromised. At the end of the day, yes, we have fistulas which could be prevented, because intervention ikikuja mapema, fistula inakuwa prevented.
Very well, to our top story, as I had mentioned earlier on, is we'll be crossing over to the Kibera Law Courts, where my colleague Ruth Wamboi is currently keeping tabs with the teacher and blogger Albert Ojang murder trial that is currently underway at the courts. Wamboi, if you can hear me, we know that ex-OCS Samson Talam and his 5 co-accused are already in court. What more can you tell us?
Thank you so much, Bentro Njue, back from the studio. We are still camping here for the 3rd day in a row at Kibera Law Court, where the case, the murder case of teacher cum blogger Albert Omondi Ojang has been running, today being the 3rd day. And today we saw the IPO investigator who took to the witness box yesterday in the afternoon to tell and explain the CCTV footage that they recovered from Central Police Station. And today he was now explaining the CCTV footage that they recovered from Mbagathi Hospital. The court was taken in a step-by-step chronology of how the body of Albert Ojang, 3 uniformed police officer in a police vehicle took Albert Ojang to Mbagathi Hospital. The court was informed that the 3 uniformed police officers, including the deputy OCS Samuel Nganga and 2 other police officers, took Albert Ojang to Mbagathi Hospital. And when they arrived at the hospital, the court was informed that the 3 officers went straight to the hospital and took a stretcher, and they are seen going to the cabin of the vehicle and taking the body of Albert Ojang and putting it in a stretcher and taking it to inside the hospital. What is not clear is whether he was dead or alive, but what raised questions during today's session was that how could the 3 police officers sit in front of the car, yet Albert Ojang was put at the back of that cabin of the police vehicle. So when they arrived at the police vehicle, they took the body inside the Mbagathi Hospital. Today's hearing has been short. The court has postponed the case to December, finding that this same court by Justice Diana Kavesa is the one handling the Utumishi Girls Academy fire tragedy, which is before her, and she has allocated October as the date for the Utumishi Girls Academy. Her diary is full. So this one for Albert Ojang has been given the next hearing date on 14th, 15th, 16th and 17th of December. On 14th is when this witness Joshua Mutua will be cross-examined by the defense on the CCTV footage that he has been showing the court since yesterday. And on 15th, 16th and 17th of December respectively, the court will hear other prosecution witnesses that have been lined up by the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution. We will inform our viewers in a subsequent bulletin. Back to you, Troy.
Thank you. That has been my colleague Ruth Wamboi coming to us live from the Kibera Law Courts. She's following up on the teacher Albert Omondi Ojang murder case that has been ongoing for the last 3 days. Well, a lot has been said, and of course, without diluting whatever she has said, that the CCTV footage still being analyzed. And from the news that we have been carrying for the last 2 days, you have seen quite chilling videos as what transpired exactly. That's what Kenyans want to know, when Ojang was put into those cells and was murdered. And of course, Mboi has mentioned that the case has been pushed to December, and where more suspects are expected to be cross-examined. Very well, at about 24 minutes past the top of the hour, we are due for a fast break. That gives me and Njue some moments to take a breather, but we'll be back with more news, not forgetting business and the latest from the world of sports.
Nilikuwa nimekuja kuangalia Josh na sijempata kwake.
Hajakuambia?
Ndio natafuta. Anajua kwenye anaishi. Ni siasa nitapambana nazo ama upumbavu wako na Monica?
Uko sure tunafaa kuonekana pamoja kweli? Wewe acha wasiwasi.
Habari yako?
Kile ambacho tutazungumza kwa hii room humu ndani kibaki hapa.
Wakati unalia katika hiyo aya, Mungu anasema qala rabbi lima hashatani ama, ewe Mola, mbona unanifufua mimi kipofu wakati kuntu basira? Na mimi nilikuwa na macho yangu nikiona kisawasawa. Mwanadamu anajitetea akisema ati alikuwa na macho yake ya kisawasawa ya ndani ya kuona ibada yake, ya kumuona Allah na utukufu wake. Amesahau kwamba yeye alikuwa hayaangalii mambo ya Allah kwa macho ya ndani, alikuwa anaangalia hivi basi nionekane msikitini, nionekane nafanya hili la khairi, nafanya hili, lakini kiundani hakuna. Tasadaka pia watu watakuonekane katika ma-TV.
Wewe kama Muislamu katika maisha yako, ikiwa humtaji Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, umemsahau Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, basi bila shaka maisha yako yatakuwa ni maisha ya dhiki, utakuwa hauna raha.
Mkulima wa wiki hii ni mwanamke bomba aliyejitosa katika kilimo biashara.
Chakula yao ya kwanza tunapatia saa 12 asubuhi. Ya pili tunawapatia saa 6 mchana. Alafu ikienda kidogo mpaka saa 9 hivi, saa 11 tunafunga mambo ya chakula. Lakini maji inaenda throughout, kwa sababu kuku ni maji.
Ungana nasi Jumamosi saa 10:30 hapa KBC Channel 1, tuangazie ufugaji wa kuku na faida zake.
Welcome back to Lunchtime News, and many thanks for keeping it Channel 1. Moving on, Principal Secretary for Forestry, Gitonga Mugambi, has urged participants in a 3-day forest conference in Mugoga to share experiences and promote successful forestry practices, saying conservation presents opportunities for farmers and the country's economy. The Principal Secretary said conservation efforts can drive industrial growth and create employment opportunities for Kenyans. He further encouraged researchers and forestry practitioners to use the conference as a platform to showcase African innovation, strengthen partnerships, and build lasting collaborations ahead of the 2029 International Union of Forest Research Organization IUFRO World Congress, which Kenya will host for the first time.
The conference theme recognizes the effective forest management must integrate historical perspectives and indigenous and local knowledge systems guided by science, technology, and innovations. Bringing together these different but complementary fields provides an excellent opportunity to generate practical solutions for the resilient forest landscapes and communities.
And this conference today brings 17 countries from the globe to come here and discuss on matters of forestry, agroforestry, indigenous knowledge, and many other matters that they are discussing in preparation for the major conference which will be held in 2029.
Now, lawmakers allied to the opposition have urged opposition principals to iron out their differences and rally behind a single presidential candidate ahead of the 2027 general election. Speaking during a public forum, Kajiado North MP Onesmus Ngogoyo warned that a divided opposition will weaken its presidential bid.
Speaking during a public participation forum on development in Kajiado, the Kajiado North legislator urged opposition leaders to put aside party interest and work together to identify one candidate capable of mounting a formidable presidential contest.
Pia ni will tell our party leader Mheshimiwa Rigathi Gachagua that he must associate with people who have the intention of uniting the opposition. If you want to bring your Jubilee candidate, your DCP candidate, uko juu mnasemaje tutatoa candidate moja? Lazima washikanishwe saa hii. Sasa walienda kuweka candidate wa Jubilee amepata kura 172. Sasa hiyo ni biashara gani?
This as Kisumu Deputy Governor Dr. Matthews Owili rallied Kisumu traders to back President William Ruto's re-election bid in the 2027 general election.
The people of Kisumu will themselves rise up and elect that person who can carry on with the legacy of Professor Peter Nyanyongo and that person who can build on that foundation.
Similarly, Isiolo County MP Momina Bonaya told her residents that President William Ruto has the interests of pastoral communities at heart and should be re-elected in next year's polls.
Two-term is more progressive, more objective, well thought out, more united. You know, people who are focused on development of their people.
In Kilifi County, Malindi lawmaker Amina Mnyazi urged coast residents to register in large numbers as voters ahead of the 2027 general election, saying the region risks marginalization without a stronger voting bloc.
Watu wa wapi huko Central anasema wanakura milioni 7. Sijui wa Baluya wanasema wanakura milioni 5. Wakamba wanasema wanakura milioni 5, sijui milioni 3. Sisi wa pwani tuko wapi?
Similar calls were made in Ukambani region during a sensitization meeting involving community, professional and religious leaders drawn from the region.
For many years as a community, and specifically over the last 20 years, we have been in the opposition. Which then means that when the government is allocating resources, we have been left behind because of that tag of being in the opposition. This time around, we don't want to be in the opposition. In 2027, we want to be part and parcel of those, people who are going to form the government.
In Migori County, community elders condemned a violent incident during a groundbreaking ceremony of the modern outpatient department at Nyamaraga Sub-County Level 4 Hospital, attended by Suna West Member of Parliament, Peter Masara.
Nimesimamia sub-county 2 kama msemaji mkuu wao, Suna East na Suna West. Ila naona mtu ambaye anataka kunivurugia amani ni mbunge wetu tuliyemchagua na kura zetu kwa amani, kwa furaha, na wake zetu tukampa kitengo cha mbunge na gavana tukampa kitengo cha ugavana, lakini amepuuzia, ameacha kazi yake.
We as elders of Suga community, we seek peace from all the inhabitants of Migori County, notwithstanding from where, but all of us, particularly in Suna East, Suna West, we need peace to prevail upon each and everybody.
Give us Mana, Lunchtime News.
To the Senate now, where the government has allayed fears over concerns of delayed disbursement of the social protection monies under the Inua Jamii program to the vulnerable persons in society, saying there is no cause for alarm. Speaking when he appeared before the Senate on Wednesday morning, Cabinet Secretary for Labour and Social Protection, Dr. Alfred Mutua, said the delay was due to the transition into the financial year and that the monies shall be paid in the next 3 weeks. So far, there are 1,213,139 beneficiaries, with the program targeting the most vulnerable owing to a budget deficit. CS Mutua also issued a stern warning to employers who have not adhered to the newly gazetted minimum wage for employees in various municipalities across the country.
The transfer has stalled, and I needed a response on why, because I know, of course, we are transitioning from commercial banks to the mobile system. Attempts by the residents to contact the local offices in Kisii have failed because those local officials are not empowered with the digital equipment they need to assist these residents. What is the ministry doing to sort out that so that we get out the vulnerable groups from the distress they are currently experiencing?
I'd like to clarify that I am not aware of anything stalling. It has not come to my attention. All I know is that we have not paid. We have a deficit of only 3 weeks because the June's payment was not paid, but we are paying June and July together this month. So, unajua, people at times, wananchi can come to you panicking, and people complain. They don't get it for 1 week. You'd think they have not received for 1 year. So, and it's because it's a very, very important social protection. So,
yameshatangazwa kwamba hizo ni municipality. Na sasa wale wafanyikazi wanaofanya kazi katika EPZ, wanaofanya katika zile kampuni ambazo ziko pale, ni lini ataweza kutangaza katika gazette notice waweze kuinuliwa ile mishahara kuweza kuongezwa, kuletwa status ya municipality, sio pale walipo hivi sasa wakiwa wananyanyaswa.
Ningependa kumhakikishia mheshimiwa Kilifi ya kwamba tutatumia ile minimum wage gazette notice ambayo niliweza kupublish mwezi uliopita kuhakikisha ya kwamba watu wanalipa mshahara kulingana na ile minimum wage criteria ambayo nimeipeana. Kwa hivyo nakuahidi ya kwamba mimi hivi leo nikirudi kwa ofisi baada ya hapa nitahakikisha maafisa wangu wa leba wametoka, wameanza kuchunguza kuhakikisha kwamba watu wamepata haki yao.
Now, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission says it will investigate the origins and intent of political tokenism disguised as empowerment and fundraising initiatives. The Commission CEO Abdi Mahmoud revealed that while carrying and distributing cash at these events is not illegal, EACC will cross-check the source of funds, the intended purpose, and the declared wealth of public officers to guard against public funds being used as political bribes. Achola Simon reports.
Debate on accountability in campaign financing and empowerment programs continues to make headlines amid calls for structured manner of providing employment opportunities to special interest groups.
When you see people moving around with sackloads of money, where are they getting it from? Yeah? That's what the people should ask them.
It is this debate that has sparked interest amongst the leadership of the EACC, who are pledging to probe the source of funds often intended to bribe potential voters and influence their voting patterns.
You see, now you have to connect the money to a crime. Otherwise, you can't just say because someone has money that it is illegal.
And it is not sustainable because you give out money today, but the money will not be there tomorrow. What happens to these people tomorrow? So we should look for sustainable means and ways of empowering our people as opposed to handouts. Handouts is not development, and handouts is not sustainable.
EACC CEO, however, made it clear carrying money was not an offense by law.
What we need to find out is, number one, what is the source of the funds? Is this illegal fund, or rather, are the money proceeds of crime?
He further said the Commission will verify declared wealth during vetting process of public officers against their lifestyle to understand their source of money.
And when we investigate and find out that a particular public officer or state officer has assets which they cannot account for, then we investigate and present that matter in court.
This comes amid concerns that politics of tokenism may have contributed to the rising cases of goonism in the country.
Quite a number of these youth have gone to school up to university level. But because of lack of sources of livelihood, they are now being misused by politicians. It is wrong. We should be civil in our approach to politics so that we accept to have divergence of opinion, but that should not be viewed as source of enmity among politicians.
Achala Simon, Lunchtime News, Kisumu County.
Now, a study conducted by the Action Foundation in Kilifi County reveals that Magarini constituency leads in the number of children with disabilities, with most of them being hidden due to stereotypes and cultural beliefs. Speaking to journalists after a session to sensitize ward representatives in Kilifi County on the importance of inclusion of persons with disabilities, Action Foundation Managing Director Stephen Ikonya said that there is a need for county governments and various stakeholders to strengthen laws and policies to ensure that those with disabilities, especially children, receive good nutrition, self-help materials, and various basic services to create a good environment for them. The study reveals that Magarini constituency has 800 children with disabilities.
800 watoto 800 ambao wako na ulemavu. Kwa usaidizi na maanisha ya kwamba atapokea therapy services, na maanisha atapewa assistive devices, na maanisha ya kwamba huyu mtoto atapata lishe bora. Hayo ni muhimu kwa sababu mtoto asipopata hayo, and especially within the first 1000 days, inamaanisha kwamba huyu mtoto hataweza kuachieve zile vitu tunaitanga the developmental milestones ambazo zinasaidia huyu mtoto kukua kama yule mtoto mwingine.
Katika bajeti yetu ya county pia tutajaribu kuongea hata na departments zote, ili kwamba wakati kama tunapanga budget kuwe na budget maalum ambayo inatengewa wale watoto ambao ni walemavu, ili kwamba tukaweze kuwainua na ili kwamba wakaweze kupata ndoto zao zile ambazo wametazamia kuwa nazo.
Time to make sense of business. Hundreds of youths in Mombasa are set to benefit from entrepreneurship training, business incubation, mentorship, and startup financing following the launch of the Close the Gap Digital Hub. The Hub's Chief Executive Baron Olivier said the facility is designed to provide a complete ecosystem where young innovators can transform business ideas into successful enterprise.
The Youth Incubation Hub seeks to equip young entrepreneurs with practical business skills, technology, and access to capital and global mentorship networks. The 2,000 square meter innovation center offers co-working spaces, accommodation, maker spaces for product development, technology training, and entrepreneurship programs to help startups develop market-ready products.
We are launching this hub as a Belgium-Kenyan initiative where we are supporting young entrepreneurs from Coast to have in this building, which is almost 2,000 square meters of working area, to help young people under one roof to actually set up their own businesses.
The stakeholders say entrepreneurs enrolled in the hub will receive training in technology, business development, and entrepreneurship, while promising startups will qualify for funding ranging between $5,000 and $20,000 to commercialize their innovations.
To basically boost entrepreneurship, to look at both the minimal viable product that they can identify and also actually get access to funding, access to makerspace where they can create and let's say identify the product, whether it's a IT product or it's a physical product, and they can help it to be marketed.
Close the Gap Digital Hub Baron Olivia has said the hub is a major investment in Kenya's youthful population, saying it will create opportunities for innovation, job creation, and enterprise development.
We have called the Close the Gap Accelerator Hub, where young people actually are being trained both on technology, on business and on entrepreneurship.
Moving on, partnerships with global technology firms will be critical in delivering Kenya's universal electricity access by the year 2030. State Department for Energy, Electrical Power Development Secretary Engineer Thomas Karungo says that this will be important in expanding the country's electricity generation, transmission and distribution infrastructure.
You can see the push that we have currently for having clean energy, right from generation to its consumption. China is quite in it, and those are the lips that I talk of, beyond the vision that was had at the very beginning of the launch of these exhibitions.
We have cumulatively brought in slightly more than 6,000 Chinese companies over the 11 years. Out of those, we have about 15 or 16 Chinese companies that have set shop here. They build factories, they build industries here, and they are producing from here, employed thousands of Kenyans.
It's about alignment, it's about engagement, and obviously we have a platform that brings buyers, suppliers, manufacturers together. So, when we bring and develop a project like this, we bring the suppliers, but then we have a platform which includes the business-to-business matchmaking.
Now, youths in Migori County have been urged to embrace agribusiness as a viable source of employment and wealth creation to tackle the country's growing unemployment crisis. Migori County Director of Agriculture, Peter Ogutu, said agriculture has the potential to provide sustainable livelihoods if young people adopt modern farming technologies.
Speaking during the distribution of modern farm machineries to young farmers, Migori County Director of Agriculture Peter Ogutu said the introduction of modern equipment will enable farmers to increase efficiency in land preparation, planting, harvesting and post-harvest handling, ultimately boosting agricultural output and profitability.
We can talk of over 50% of the youth are currently engaging in agriculture. This is due to we have encouraged them through trainings, through extensions. They know now the benefits of agriculture, how they can engage and get income.
Cereal Growers Association Market Coordinator Charles Obiero said equipping young farmers with modern machineries and technical skills will create employment opportunities while increasing food production and strengthening the country's agricultural value chains. Adding increased youth participation in agriculture is essential to enhancing Kenya's food security.
Let us know what they can be supported with that can be economical in terms of production, in terms of income generation, and in terms of creating jobs for more young people.
The initiative forms part of the ongoing efforts to modernize agriculture, attract more young people into farming, and build a resilient and food-secure agricultural sector.
Many youths have gone to school and there are no jobs. So now we are giving them options to engage in agriculture to earn income. They have understood that and they are really turning up for that. So, and we will continue encouraging them to join agriculture as a source of livelihood to ensure that our farmers get more benefit to whatever they are producing.
The farm machineries distributed under the program is expected to mechanize agricultural production, improve efficiency, and significantly reduce post-harvest losses, enabling young farmers to maximize yields and increase their earnings. Ezekiel Owino reporting for Lunchtime News.
And further afield, the U.S. war in Iran is taking a toll on the American economy, with the cost of the conflict costing U.S. taxpayers more than $37.5 billion. This is an increase of nearly $8 billion since the last estimate in May. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has said Hegseth told the Senate Appropriations Committee it was urgent that lawmakers approve another $87 billion in congressional funding for the Pentagon, with $67 billion of that destined for operations in the Middle East. More details next in our international business briefs.
The White House asked Congress in April for $1.5 trillion for the Pentagon over the next fiscal year, which would raise American military spending to an all-time high in the modern era. There had been no official government estimate of the U.S. financial cost of the war since 12 May, when a senior Pentagon official put the figure at $29 billion. The Pentagon previously told lawmakers the war had cost the U.S. some $11.3 billion in the first week. At Tuesday's hearing, New York Democratic Senator Kirsten Gillibrand accused the Trump administration of seeking unlimited money for bombs from Congress, while American citizens cannot afford to feed their families. The continued strikes come as oil markets remain volatile over the security of the Strait of Hormuz, which typically carries around a fifth of global seaborne oil supply. Meanwhile, Ebola outbreak is threatening global critical mineral supply chains in the Democratic Republic of the Congo's Ituri province, a major production zone for gold and other 3TG minerals, critical to global electronics and clean energy supply chains. Barrick's Kibali mine, Africa's largest gold operation that sits on the immediate border of Ituri, has stepped up Ebola screening at the site, noting that part of its roughly 7,600 strong workforce originates from Ituri, creating a direct link between the outbreak zone and mine operations, though no cases have been confirmed among its employees or contractors to date. Copper and cobalt producers further south are separately contending with disruptions to sulfuric acid and sulfur deliveries tied to shipping constraints through the Strait of Hormuz, with some analysts estimating DRC copper output could fall by as much as 125,000 tons in 2026 if disruption persists. Finally, France's National Assembly and Senate formally passed a bill on Tuesday banning minors under the age of 15 from using social media. According to the newly approved bill, the ban will be rolled out in the 2 phases. Effective September 1st, minors under the age of 15 will be prohibited from registering new accounts on social media platforms. The restrictions will then be expanded in the following year. From January 2027 onward, any existing social media accounts belonging to minors under 15 will be suspended or permanently closed.
And in sports, the Kenya Retired Athletes Welfare Association has announced plans to host a grand inaugural peace walk scheduled for August. That the initiative aims to preach peace and advocate for civic tolerance ahead of the upcoming 2027 general election. Spearheaded by the association's chairperson Vitalis Emurian, the campaign will serve as a unifying platform bringing together Kenyans from all walks of life. The official launch of the peace initiative is slated for August, with simultaneous and cascading events planned across key urban centers, including Nairobi, Mombasa, and Eldoret. The walk is strategically designed to traverse major regions, utilizing the unifying power of sports to send a strong message against political intolerance, violence, hate speech, and polarization.
Now, before we ask for the donors, we don't have any donation so far. But first, what we are doing, we are looking the partners who are ready, and also the government, to join us in this forum so that we can see what to do and where we can get the support. We need the support, we need the donation.
The reason why we thought about the peace program, because based on what is happening in the country right now, the temperatures get high sometimes, and you cannot always foretell what's going to happen in 2027. It may not be that good unless we do the peace program right now.
In need of our country, we are in need of each other. We need to teach and to teach our fellow athletes and Kenyans how to maintain peace in our country.
So we just to preach peace, and let's have
peace whenever we walk, wherever we come.
Harambee Stars have retained their position globally in the latest FIFA ranking after the end of the World Cup. The Stars are ranked 109 in the world, and within East Africa, Kenya remains the region's second highest ranked side, trailing only Uganda, who sit at 89th globally. FIFA first post-tournament update released this week saw Spain reclaim top position with 1,995.88 points after the extra-time win over Argentina in the final, while the runners-up slipped to second. Kenya's own standing has stayed unchanged, last placed 109 in the world following a strong 4-0 friendly win over Lesotho in June. On the continental stage, Morocco continues to set the standard as Africa's highest-ranked nation. And back home, schools in Kenya's coastal region are set to compete within international athletic standards following the expansion of the International Mini Games, STEM and Arts program to the region. This after the conclusion of the 20th edition of the International Mini Games held in Malindi. The games that constitute sports professionals host regional multi-sport tournaments, often referred as mini Olympics, bringing together young athletes and students from Kenya and the wider East African region. According to the event director Adrian Modoni, the program seeks to develop future world champions by embracing Olympic values.
The purpose for having the international mini games is so that we can produce international world champions using the Olympics values. So we try and make sure we have set the Olympic standards as we are planning these activities.
The values are also being taught in their school so that they can be able to be good children in school and also good citizens.
Nashukuru kwa kujumuika leo kwa kuwa pamoja na michezo hii. Natumai tutaqualify tuweze kwenda Arusha November.
Game number 2. So we are so grateful for the opportunity. Secondly, I want to urge the community to continue participating in these games because one, it helps the students to interact and also create the networking.
Very well, that's where we put a cap on KBC Lunchtime News this Wednesday afternoon. Many thanks indeed for joining us. We're keeping tabs, especially on the LSK boycott and also the Albert Ojang trial, where we will be bringing you the latest in a more detailed version. Many thanks for joining us. My name is Bentro Njue. Caro Njoroge has been a sign language interpreter for this newscast. And of course, on behalf of everyone who's made this success, including my director for the day, Hemston Okemwa, I wish you the very best. And don't forget to check out our social media spaces for this news and much, much more. Have a good one.
Kwa nini ulipotea kazi ya polisi huko unazunguka nyumba za watu ukiwauliza maswali?
Nini inaendelea kati yako, Sam, Yasin, Biko na Marvin?
Ni wana biashara
Unajua nini kuhusu mzigo ya Yasin yenye ilipotea?
Mzigo gani?
Mlikuwa watu wawili tu na tulikuwa mnajua location ya hiyo mzigo, Mark.
Sasa unajaribu kusema nini